Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Hope you're having a great Monday wherever you are, doing whatever it is you're doing. Hope all is well. I had an entirely different podcast plan for today, completely different. And then everything just kind of got topsy turvy from last night and this morning. And it's like, holy moly. And so, just in case you have been on Mars with a bag over your head, with your head buried in the sand, you would not know what's been going on the last, from like yesterday evening until today. And so, and it just like I just literally just jumped on, and we're gonna be on Shutter Island. My whole idea for a podcast went out the window last night, so we're gonna have to do what we're gonna do today, maybe tomorrow. But again, just in case you have not been paying attention and you haven't been on social media, and if you haven't been on Baron and Duchess of Success, you may not have known what is happening. But I literally just before I came on here, went on X to just see whatever I missed and what's been happening, say the last few minutes, and apparently Kate has turned up. That apparently there is William and Kate. Apparently that's Kate. Of course, we can only see the back of her head, but apparently that is Kate on their way to Westminster Abbey, because obviously today is the Commonwealth service, which I never understood why what that Commonwealth service is like. Never mind. Anyway, let me mind my own business with that. You know my issues with the Commonwealth and that whole nonsense. But there's the Commonwealth service today. And apparently William is scheduled to go, and Kate, obviously, they said we would not be seeing her, or people would not be seeing her until after Easter service. But I guess Easter just came early for many, because apparently that is Kate Middleton in the car with William on their way to the Westminster Abbey. But according to their favorite royal gossiper, Rebecca English, the Princess of Wales has been pictured leaving Windsor with the Prince of Wales this afternoon. She is not attending the Commonwealth Day service, however, and she did in another tweet that she's going off to a private meeting or engagement or something of the other. And so apparently that's Kate, and apparently she was seen. I mean, when have you ever seen that happen, where she is in a car with William, but she's not going to be going to wherever William is going. She is going off on her own. So this was a whole setup thing. I mean, I swear I have never seen a more unprofessional group of people. It's like a clown show. I have not seen anything, and I don't think anyone else has either, because everyone is sort of, you can almost hear the mouths open. Even their favorite royal gossipers, even their most ardent sycophants are all like, you could hear the collective mouths just like, we have no idea what they're doing. We've never seen this level of unprofessionalism in our whole life. I mean, it is ridiculous. The things that, and I'm like, I am sitting here with like second and third hand embarrassment for people that I'm like, it serves them right what is happening, because as if you have paid attention to all of us, Sussex friendly channels, we've been talking about this stuff forever. It's just now, the rest of the world are cluing into what is happening with Kensington Palace and William and Kate. These people are the most unprofessional, clueless. Thank you, Sonia. It is a clown show. What is going on over there? That is the only way you can describe it. And the wild part of it for them is, finally, the world press is paying attention. Finally, the world press is like, their spotlight is on them, because I remember during Spare, when Prince Harry did an interview with one of those, what's her name, Briony Gordon from The Telegraph. He did an interview with The Telegraph. And so one of the things Harry said is, if half the attention or actually, I think he said, if 1/10 of the attention that is put on us is put on them, maybe things will start changing. And I always remember Harry saying that. because the thing is, they have been cloaked. They have been cloaked, and they have been being protected by the British press and the British tabloids, especially. So a lot of people are not aware or not paid attention, or just been, they just don't want to pay attention to the clown show that has been going on at Kensington Palace, and how inept and pick an adjective that they are. And so apparently this is supposedly Kate. Who knows? Maybe there are other photos with her face. So in it, I don't know. I literally had to leave that and jump on here. So I didn't see any other photos. But according to them, this is her, and she's going off to another engagement. And Prince William is going to the Commonwealth service. And I'm thinking is, well, if she can get into a car, if she can sit up straight and go to another engagement, unless it's a doctor's appointment, which could be the case if that's really her, that could be the case. But other than that, if she could do all those things, she could have gone to the Commonwealth service. I mean, they're just sitting there. It's not like she's doing anything other than sitting there. So what's the reason why she couldn't go to the Commonwealth service? If she could sit in a car and go off to another engagement, why couldn't, other than if it's, going to a doctor? But again, when have you ever seen that? When have you ever seen that? It's craziness. But anyway, so this whole mess, if you weren't paying attention yesterday and this morning, this whole mess, I mean, it's been going on since December, when this person posted a video online about this basically this motorcade leaving Sandringham. I think it was the day after Christmas or the night after Christmas, something like that, and heading towards a hospital. And they posted like, hope everything is okay at Sandringham. And ever since then, this whole thing has been a one clown event after another. And obviously we know it, this whole announcement that Kate's having abdominal surgery, and the whole thing with King Charles's prostate, and then his cancer, and all of this. And as we've been talking about the whole time here, all of this has been very weird and very odd. None of this has made any sense whatsoever. And then all of this is supposedly happening to the two people that were tagged as the two racist royals. We've been talking about this forever, ad nauseum. And so with all of this, the pressure has been building on Kensington Palace and building on them. As people started questioning, where is Kate? Where is Kate? Why aren't we seeing anything from Kate? Especially the fact because Buckingham Palace have been putting out photos and videos of King Charles, and Kate has been absent. And so people's, in the absence of actual news about what's going on, conspiracy theories, people are filling that vacuum. And so it got to the pressure to build on them so much that they had to sort of stage this "I did not stage a photo" moment with this paparazzi last week. And then they claim like, "Oh, no, it's not an official, we did not stage that, it was not from us." But it's like, really, seriously? And then we talked about the whole drama with the fifth wheel of the car and all of that mess, which we all know it was staged, even though they are lying about it not being staged. And so that whole mess, and Kate is in there. And then, by the time other stuff came up, people are starting to say like, that's not Kate, that's Pippa. And then they're like, no, that's not Pippa, that's Samantha Cohen, and all of this stuff. I mean, nothing about that photo. I mean, whether it's her face, whether, because it looks like, swollen compared to how she normally looks. And I've been trying to be nice, trying to find reasons why it could look like that, and trying to sort of, do my best to not, to be kind and all of that stuff. But all of that drama happened, and the photo then, by the end of the week, the whole photo made everything worse. Because then, with everybody thinking it's not her, and then it's her sister and all of that stuff, then the whole drama started again. Well, really, where is she? And then people started to say, well, she's dead. People are like, she's in a coma. Everything. So what happens? She puts out this photo, and then But even before that, she puts out this photo, and then all of this drama started happening from yesterday, today. But even before, I mean, we're going to get to the photo in a second, but even before all that photo drama that happened yesterday, we've seen this pattern with Kensington Palace before. We've seen this whole drama with photo and photoshopping and all of that stuff before. Was it last year, a year and a half ago, when she put apparently she had taken this photo with the Queen and all her great grandchildren. Well, not all, because Lily and Archie weren't there. I don't even think Lily was born when this photo was taken, but with some of her great grandkids around the Queen, and they put it out there. And the moment they put it out there, everyone was like, wait a minute, there's something very wrong with this photo. Now, I, as a photographer, looked at this photo, and, unless like this, I have to pay attention to royal photos. I tend to not. I just see it, leave it, okay, whatever, it's nice, and leave it and go my way. I don't sit there investigating. But, I'm not like everyone. But the moment that came out, everyone started like, wait a minute, there's something very wrong with this photo. And people started pointing out all of these photoshopping errors that is in this photo. And the only one I'm going to focus on is the lighting. And one of the things, if you're a photographer, lighting is very important, whether you're using natural lighting or you're using, artificial lighting, like, a light bulb or whatever. And so one of the things that's easily recognizable in this photo is the lighting. It's like all of the other, all the kids in the green arrows, you can see on the side of their face, on the left side of the screen, the light is coming from that direction, all the arrows in green, whether it's little baby in the front, I think is one of the Tyndall kids. I think that's who that is. Little girl in the back there, I don't know who she is. George there, all of them you can see. Actually, George, you can see it the most on the side of his face there. The light is literally bouncing off his face in that direction, and you can see that in the little one in the red, well, instead of the bigger one in the red in the front, you can see the light literally bouncing off of her forehead. The only person the light isn't going in that, who the light isn't going in that direction, is little Louis on the other side. With the yellow arrows, you can see from the arrow there, you can see on his hair, the light is literally bouncing off the left side of his hair right there. And it's very funny. It's like, and you can see a little bit of the light on the top. The only person that that direction, the light going in that direction, is little Louis. So it's very clear from that little Louis was not in that photo when they took that photo. He was not in the room when he took that photo, and that they photoshopped him into the photo later. Which, look, even when we were talking about this, what was it, a year and a half ago, we were talking about this, I gave her the benefit of a doubt. I was like, look, I was a teacher. I taught kids, and we would have to try to take photos with little kids. It is the most difficult thing in the world to try to take photos. If you guys are parents, you know what it's like to try to get a family photo together with a bunch of little kids. It is almost impossible, especially if they're rambunctious as little Louis has been. And so I gave them grace because I'm like, I understand. I have been there. I know what it's like. And so you would think after that whole hubbub, they would learn. I mean, even when people were criticizing it and they were calling them out, instead of the British press, calling out the royals, and like, dude, that is not acceptable. Because again, if they are posting Photoshop photos and they're sending that to the press, it also calls the press into, it also called their credibility into question, because don't they have people on their staff whose job it is to inspect these photos to make sure that they are sound, that they are sound photos? Like, don't they have people to be going through those photos with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that they're legit? And instead of doing that, and this is from a Daily Mail article. Daily Mail attacked Christopher Boozy, was one of the people that were calling him out. But they, instead of again going after the royals for photoshopping their photo, what did they do? They're like, tech CEO Christopher Boozy, who appeared in Harry and Meghan's Netflix docuseries, sparks backlash by saying Kate's portrait of the Queen with her grandchildren at Balmoral was photoshopped. It was photoshopped. And again, I'm literally just pointing out the lighting. There was a whole bunch of other stuff, even with the queen's blanket on her, that you could tell it was photoshopped, and they did a messy job of photoshopping. So that happened, nothing, no consequences. Instead of going after the royals for photoshopping, they're attacking people who calling it out. Nothing, no consequences. Christmas, this was their underwrite, was their Christmas card. Again, little Louis, they photoshopped his finger out. This was like literally a professional photo. They photoshopped his finger. We remember the whole drama in Christmas. It was like news for like a day, and then nothing happened. No consequences, no chastising the royals for not, because again, it's not like they're just putting this on their website. And, if it's something, your picture you took and you put it on your social media, and you want to Photoshop, that's your business. If other people take your photo and put it in their paper, that's, they can't fault you. Not, at least you're not trying to act like, it's something that is legit and anything. But what they're doing is not only they're putting it on their website, they're actually sending this to news agency to post. And so if they're posting stuff that's Photoshop, it calls the news agency, the news outlets into question, their credibility into question. Again, same thing with the Christmas photo. They did the same thing and no consequences. Nobody, they just sort of make a joke of it. Isn't it funny? Kate and William are just like us. They have Photoshop now, mishap too. Ha 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 ha. And then they put this out again. I looked at the thing, didn't give it, second thought. And on the outside, it looked like a normal photo. It would look like a normal Kate smiling, very cheesy, regular cheesy photo to me. And royal reporters are sitting there like really rejoicing in their photos, like, oh, look at what our Kate did. I had to do a Sarah. I saw this from Sarah Vine and I had to laugh because when she initially saw the photo, it was like, oh, the picture of smiling Kate kills the absurd conspiracy theories, and the truth is the country needs her and William more than ever, despite what the Montecito moaners say. Of course, they have to attack Harry and Meghan over this. So we'll get back to Sarah Vine in a minute with her nonsense. But it was very interesting how, that was just one. A lot of the other royal reporters were saying all of this stuff, all rejoicing in the beauty of their queen, their white queen is back in the. But you look at this and it just looked like a normal photo. And then you really look at it, you really look at it. And then which is what a lot of people started doing, that are not royal reporters. It's like Kate Middleton's Mother's Day post called fake by fans. Looks like AI. So people started really looking, and I even posted because I noticed her ring was missing. And people started asking about that. And Marcus, another tabloid, and again, these are their tabloids. These are the people that they count on to carry their message. Is Kate Middleton's latest photo AI generated? Fans think so, and here's why. And at the bottom, and it also says fans notice Kate Middleton's wedding ring is missing in her first official photo since having abdominal surgery. And so that's where people were with this. At first, this was the first take, like, this is AI. There's something really off with that. Where is her ring? Actually, most of the drama was about where is her ring, because when Meghan did not have her engagement ring for a few months, because they said that her engagement ring was out. I think a piece of it came off or something. The setting was coming out or something. So they sent it off to get fixed. The British press took that opportunity to write scores of think pieces about why Meghan's engagement ring means that they are getting divorced, that her and Harry are getting divorced, over and over and over, to where we got to the chase in New York and all of those pieces about Harry moving out and living elsewhere and they're getting divorced and all of this mess. That was all around the time when Meghan didn't have her engagement ring. And so now it's just like, well, are they going to start writing think pieces about Kate Middleton? Because here is Kate Middleton not having her engagement ring. And then people started really getting into the photos. And there were so many different things. And I was just like, some of them I could see because, I edit photos and I was a photographer, you edit your photos and all of that stuff. Some of them I could see. Some of them I was like, I don't know if I see what you see in some of these photos. But here are some of the things that I saw in the photos of people like, oh my goodness, this is not just Photoshop. There's like some major stuff and replacement stuff happening here. One of the big things why big issues was, if you look at the first picture in green, you see that something is very up with Charlotte's sleeves. It's like her wrist is one place. It's sort of like the cuff of her sweater is and her wrists are completely off. It's like they forgot to line them up so that her wrist is under the sweater. And then you could see a little piece where they tried to do a little bit of editing or cloning, and they completely messed it up. And it's just like, if editing languages, like you can, if you want to replace, for example, if there's a spot somewhere and you don't want that spot there, you can clone something else and replace it with something else. And they tried to do something there, and that cloning was a bit of a mess. And then they forgot, I think, to pull down the opacity so you can see the circle where they tried to clone it. It's just weird. And then right next to that at the top, they also said that there's something wrong with her skirt. It looks like, well, why isn't it on her waist? When I look at that, I thought it looked like the skirt has a little pocket on it. That's what I see. And, if I look at the stitching around it, it looked like it's a little pocket, but they're like, no, that's something that's got a little bit weird. At the bottom, I think one of the most egregious along with that Charlotte's little sleeve up there were Kate's hands. If you look at the regular photo, and you look at where the two photos at the bottom with Kate's hands, that's one of the most egregious, because her hands where she is hugging Charlotte is very much in focus. You can see it very, very clearly. But her hands when she is hugging Louis, on the other hand, is very much out of focus. And that's one of the big, like, okay, this is either the camera setting was on multi-focus, where whatever you're looking at, they can have a bunch of different focal points, and then others are out of focus. I'm trying to give them the benefit of a doubt that could happen. I could use that setting on my camera. Maybe that's what their setting was. Why do you have all of these out of focus things on this picture? But it's very weird to have one hand very much in focus and the other hand very much out of focus. And then if you look at the other photo over there with her shoes, it looked like they tried to do something with her boots, and they didn't. It looks like they tried to edit something out, but somehow we are getting a bit of the boots twice. And it's just like, it was a little bit of a botch photoshopping job there. That's why I'm always like, don't Photoshop your photos. Leave your photos alone, And then you look at it, you look at the back, I know, because I was asking about if the grass in UK and the leaves in the UK, and it's funny because when I just came on, Chris Ship, who lives in the UK, was asking this very question. He's like, should the foliage at this time of the year be that green, the foliage that is in Kate and William's photo? And so I was asking the same question. Apparently, there are some places that you have green grass or whatever, but it's looked very, very green for this time of year, because they claimed that this photo was taken last week and Prince William is the one that took that photo. And so it's like, okay, well, that's a little green for this time of year. But again, I'm not in the UK, but it's really weird that reporter Chris Shep, someone posted a screenshot of him, because again, he blocked me, so I can't really see his things. They posted a screenshot of a tweet asking the same question, and he lives in the UK. So he was even questioning if the leaves are that green. They said this was done at Windsor Castle. Another thing about the photo is what Kate is wearing. And Kate supposedly had abdominal surgery a month ago, just over a month ago or so. over a month and something, I guess you can say. But I don't know about people who've had abdominal surgery. Her, whether it's jeans or whether it's leggings, those, leggings that looks like jeans. Would you be able to wear something like that after abdominal surgery? I'm like, that's a little tight to want to get into that. And then two, I mean, unless it's really, really, really low waisted where it doesn't go anywhere close to your tummy. I mean, if I have abdominal surgery, I'm not sure that's the clothes you'd, so you have all of those big questions. And then some of the photos, some parts in the photo, you have softness around where Charlotte's legs are. You have the softness of the photo and all of that stuff. And I mean, some parts of her hair is, I'll show you. Look at us with all of the red. These are all photo edits that people could find, even her cheeks. It looks like they patched in something of her cheek. And there is so many things in this photo that people have picked out that some that I didn't even see. But some parts of her hair is in focus, some parts of her hair is not in focus. And so what I think happened with this whole photo is this photo is one of the things in photography. If you, for example, took a photo of a child, say, and the child is crying, and you want the child to be laughing in the picture, so you take a few photos, and then you could do something that's called layering. And you can layer it, and you can take off, and you do it in Photoshop, and there's a whole way to do it, where you can get, for example, maybe the pose you want, but remove the crying from the baby and leave the photo, or at least the part of the photo where she's smiling. So you get the pose that you want, but the smiling instead of the crying baby. And this is kind of what I think happened here. There's just a lot of different photos, layer upon layer, to maybe compose the photos that she wanted, or whoever wanted to create this photo. And this is kind of what I think happened with this whole mess. And so it is just ridiculous. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it is just craziness. And so all of this is happening, and all of yesterday. And so by last night, I wasn't really shocked when I saw this. I mean, I'd never seen this for, say, a royal photo before. But by last night, we had Chris Shep being I guess the announcer for all of this. No comment from Kensington Palace tonight after at least 3 international photo agencies refused to distribute this morning's photo of Kate and her children. Some of them, AP, have claimed the source, the palace, have manipulated the image. And it's not just a little Photoshop here, you take away a little blemish here, a blemish here. They manipulated the photo, meaning there are things in this photo that would not be there in the original photo that they either took in, they brought into a photo that wasn't originally there, or took out or manipulated it to look different from what it originally supposed to look like. That's what you manipulating your photo, or pulling a head, and that maybe was somebody's head originally and you just photoshopped in somebody's head over it. All of those things can be manipulations, which is very likely could have happened in this photo. And then he goes on to say kill notification, which was like, oh my gosh, they're really doing this. Clients, please, and this is from AP telling their clients, please be advised, the following story has been killed and should no longer be used at and they said that the reason for killing the story at closer inspection, it appears that the source, the palace, has manipulated the image. No replacement photo will be sent. Again, they didn't just kill the image like that. They asked Kensington Palace for the original. They wanted the original to make sure that what they're seeing is correct, because if they have the original, they can look like, okay, are we wrong in this? Let's look at the original and see. Kensington Palace absolutely refused. When people were asking about Kate's ring yesterday, they arrogantly responded like, the photo was taken by Prince William and her husband, and they were at home. They did not want to deal with it. They were very angry. When when Associated Press asked for the original, they flatly refused. And so AP had no, they had no choice but to kill the photo. And again, Associated Press is not the British press. They are very reputable. They are going to go through this stuff with a fine-tooth comb. And for them to kill something like that, and for, from the royals, it has to be serious. And so they went on to say, please remove it from all platforms, including social, where it may still be visible. You are receiving this email from the Associated Press and now serving notice of video kills to customers via an operational email. This change will ensure that all parties are aware of the relevant issues with AP video content. And that's the thing. So when AP does it, we know the reputation of AP. It's serious. And not only that, other photo agencies, mandatory kill notice from AFP, a huge international picture agency, which says that there is an editorial issue with Kensington Palace photo, and has told clients to remove it. And Chris Cheap, again, he was reporter. Everybody, I guess he was just on the case. The photo has been withdrawn from Next Up Reuters. The photo has been withdrawn following a post-publication review. Please make no further use of it. Still no response from Kensington Palace. Again, they were very arrogant. They refuse. I mean, these news agencies, again, they're not just going to pull it. They want the original. They wanted Kensington Palace to give them the original, and they refused. And so these are just their official notices from AFP and from Reuters. As from Reuters, it says, in pictures, Kate and the Princess of Wales through the years, we are deleting a post containing an image of the Princess of Wales following publication review. And again, it's the arrogance in which Kensington Palace feeling like, no, we can disrespect you and give you manipulated photo, but we are not going to answer when you're asking that, you back up what you say. And so the absolute arrogance of these people is unbelievable. And again, this comes from never having to face the consequences of this, never having to answer, because the British press will just let them get away with it. Even today, they're still making excuses for this. Even today, they are making excuse for their unprofessional behavior. They just assume that because the British media will let them get away with it, the international media would. But Associated Press and Reuters are international media. They're not going to let them get away with stuff like that. And so even today, Press Association, which is a UK, they were like, they didn't pull it last night. They were still like, we're trying to get the originals from Kensington Palace, which even today they didn't pull it until finally Kensington Palace refused, and they actually ended up having to pull it. This is a UK organization, the UK Press Association. This is the same organization that Harry used when they wanted their first photos of Archie, that these were the reporters that Harry, spoke to when he was first announcing Archie's birth. Press Association. He's the only one he trusted. They're the ones that were trying to get approval to get the originals from Kensington Palace before they pulled. And then finally, Kensington Palace refused, and they finally had to pull it. It is unbelievable. Again, this is talking about no consequences. They never felt like they needed to do this. And some people like this, they don't change their behavior because they know there are no consequences. Nobody will ever call them on it, so they don't feel that they need to change. Lesser folks would have been, if they've been called out for photoshopping and shamed on a world stage, they would change. But again, we've seen, here we are again with Kensington Palace and this nonsense. And so these are some of the reporters responding to this mess. And I'm just going to move my banner. And I just realized I didn't even say hi to all of you guys in the chat. I was just jumped into it. It's just been so there. Hi, my friends in the chat, and all of you listening who are not in the chat. I didn't even say hello to you, and I'm so sorry. I just realized, oh my gosh, I didn't even say hi to my friends. But we'll come and say hi in a second when we're done. Well, I'll come into the chat and just hang. But Richard Palmer, one of the royal sycophants, who we've talked about covering for William before, when he talked about war just being, we never hear war in Europe. You only hear about it in, Asia and Africa and whatever. And then he covered for William saying, oh, I must have misheard. Yeah, this is this one. Richard Palmer says, well, I'm no expert in, and I'm the world's worst photographer, but I think it essentially means that most of the major picture agencies think part or parts of the photo has been photoshopped. It's something that photographers can lose their jobs over. Yeah, this is very, very serious. And Peter Hunt, who used to be a royal reporter for the BBC, he says, this is damaging for the royals. They knew there would be intense interest in any picture they released of Kate. Their challenge is that people will now question whether they can be trusted and believe when they issue the next private update. Yeah, nobody's going to believe them. The Associated Press is a little bit from them. It says the Associated Press initially published the photo, which was issued by Kensington Palace, but AP later retracted the image because at closer inspection, it appeared that the source, Kensington Palace, had manipulated the image in a way that did not meet AP's photo standard. The photo shows inconsistency in alignment with, they mentioned Princess Charlotte's left hand. Peter Jukes, he is the owner and one of the editors of Byline Times. He says, anyone have any, he's like, this is when all of this was happening. He's like, anyone have any clue what the heck is going on here? Can someone explain any obvious signs of manipulation that cause this image to be pulled? And then he found out later. And let's see. Just move my little brand thingy there so I can read this properly. Richard Palmer, even before he was talking about not being an expert, when it first happened, I kind of got these a little backwards. When it first happened, when people realized that, the images were manipulated, he said, there's been some crazy things written about the Princess of Wales on social media in the past couple of weeks, but the decision by several news and picture agencies to kill Prince William's picture, again, this is Prince William, they claim that that's what Kensington Palace said, that is Prince William's picture, on the grounds it appears to have been manipulated, is a real controversy, I'd say. He also said, what should have been a way of dampening the hysteria now threatens to add fuel to the fire, I'd say. Rebecca English, the royals' favorite gossiper, says Mother's Day photograph of the Princess of Wales is pulled over manipulation fears. Picture is recalled by 4 international agencies as questions raised over the first image, first image of the royal since her surgery. Tim Daly from the UK wrote, source of this photo is Kensington Palace, and this allegation it has been manipulating the image involves involvement in fake news is astonishing. And it's like, Tim, have you been alive for a while? I mean, their entire rota is the tabloids. Of course, they're involved in fake news. That's what tabloids is. Even Richard Eden, the royal sycophant Richard Eden, who is forever championing the royals. I never thought I would see a kill notice on an official photograph issued by a royal palace. Yeah, they all thought that, Kate and William could get away with another manipulation because the US and international press have not really gotten involved in it. But now that they have, now they're all shocked that, oh my gosh, a kill notice on a royal photo? They wouldn't dare. I mean, again, I only pointed out, 3 instances of photoshopping. I didn't even realize that until last night that there were even issues with when baby Charlotte was a baby, that they were photoshopping baby Charlotte as well. Who knew? I had no idea until last night. And so they've been doing this, and the British press, again, no consequences. They have never killed their photo because they're royals, even though they know they're photoshopping. So again, they're like, because they would never dare to do it. They never think of calling them out and putting their foot down and killing their photos when they realize that the royals are giving them fake photos. But now, again, the international press, they can't control the international press. The international press is not beholden to them. So the international press is going to post it. And now they realize, oh my goodness, we can't control the international press. So we better start talking about it. And well, lo and behold, all of their tabloids now and their regular press they've started to having to write about it because the international press has gotten it. They can't control the story any longer. So as you can see, Daily Mail, the Mirror, Daily Telegraph, and others started writing about the fact that, It was doctored, and the agencies have pulled. They didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice because why? The US has already gotten it. And when the US press starts, they know they can't control the US press. And if the US press starts, it's going to be international. So they better start talking about it. And you can see from Deadline, it says CBS, posted about it, about Reuters and Associated Press removing it. Deadline is like, it was meant to be a wholesome image to celebrate the Mother's Day in the UK, but a photo of Kate Middleton and her children has ended in controversy for the Prince and Princess of Wales. 4 major news agencies, Associated Press, Getty Image, I'm telling you, Getty is so devoted to them. Getty Image, Reuters, and AFP have pulled the photo from their libraries amid concerns it was manipulated by Kensington Palace. And notice they're not putting source. They said it was manipulated by Kensington Palace. Associated Press issued a kill notification for clients, telling those who use its services that on closer inspection, it appears that the source has manipulated the image. Reuters said it was deleting the picture after post-publication review. And I mean, it's the same thing that I don't think they thought, just like William, I don't think he thought missing his godfather's memorial service was a big deal. They must have thought putting this photo out there was not a big deal. And then everybody is shocked that it's blown up there. I mean, even their press is shocked that this is now international embarrassment for all of them. And it's just... it's incredible. Like, again, this whole Kensington Palace's handling of this whole mess since January has been a disaster. I don't understand how they can have staff who they have publicists, they have private secretaries, they have the British press at their disposal, and they could still bungle this as much. Like, I have never seen anything like this. I was like, this is unbelievable. This is utterly unbelievable that they could do this. And if you notice, Buckingham Palace has been silent. Not a peep. They are not bailing them out. They are not saying a word in their defense. Nothing. Buckingham Palace has been silent. They have not mentioned Kate and her abdominal surgery. They have not mentioned anything, not a thing about them and that. They have been silent. And I have to believe King Charles is like, you know what? William is going to have to learn. And some people, again, you can teach them stuff and they learn. Some people have to literally fall on their heads before they learn. And you just have to let them fall on their head and learn. Because this is... And what you see from this is that William is ill-equipped to lead. He is ill-equipped. I don't care how many times they claim that, all of his life, that he was being trained by the Queen and the Queen Mother and all the other people that he has around him his entire life, training him to take the reins. William is not ready to lead in any way, shape, or form at all, in any sense of the word. He is not equipped. He is not in a place of leadership. He is not a leader. What he is basically in is in a circus, and he's like the clown in the middle of it. It is unbelievable. And so what does the British press do in the middle of all that mess? They decided to soft launch Rose Hansbury. If you notice, when they posted this article yesterday, the 10th, Lady Rose Hansbury, who is the Marchioness of Cholmondeley? I didn't even bother reading the article because you know what it is. In the middle of all that mess, they decided the best time to soft launch Rose Hansbury was yesterday. And it's like, is this still happening? Is she and William still a thing? I mean, of course they allege that that's the relationship that William is having. It's been a while, I didn't know if that was still a thing, but it's just very, it's very interesting that Independent, and Independent has a royal bestie in Camilla, and it's just like, and we know that, one of the things that's been happening is this whole supposed feud between William and Camilla. And then all of a sudden, The Independent, whose editor is bestie with Camilla, is soft launching Rose. And it's just like, you saying that there's something going on there, that Rose is going to be the next. Oh, never mind. Moving on from Rose Chubley. And so all of last night, hours and hours and hours passed by. Nothing from Kensington Palace, refused to respond. And then obviously, we know this morning, Kensington Palace decides to put this out. And this is the post that they posted this morning. Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a happy Mother's Day. C. And usually when they sign C or with a W, it's Catherine or William. So apparently this was signed by Kate Middleton. There are a lot of things with this statement that is ridiculous. One, I don't believe Kate wrote this article, this statement at all in any sense of the word. We'll get back to that in a second. Two, Kate Middleton is not an amateur photographer. Kate Middleton's work has been in magazines. I mean, she even did this a cover spread for Camilla for, what is it, Country and Home or whatever it is else. She's done work with the Holocaust survivors, where it got big, they put it in some gallery stuff and all. Kate Middleton is not an amateur photographer. So that's one, first of all, that's a lie. And it's like, oh, I do experiment with editing. First, notice she's not saying, yes, I could say I experiment with editing. I could put myself on there and say, yeah, I experiment with editing. Doesn't mean I edited that photo. She's not taking, she didn't say she edited. She just apologized for the confusion that the family photograph caused. She's not taking responsibility for this photo. She's just saying, I experiment with it. And, the family photo. Yeah, millions of people experiment with, editing photos every day. And there is no confusion about the photo. Everyone is clear that you Photoshop, who you or whomever Photoshop that photo. So that's very clear. None of that is confusing at all. And I don't believe it was her. I don't believe the statement came from her. And I know that because we have precedent with how Kensington Palace work with this stuff. First of all, even if Kate Middleton is the one that photoshopped this, even if William is the one that took that photo, no one is really blaming Will. No one is putting any responsibility on William. William is the head of Kensington Palace. He is the heir. He is the future king. He is the head of that household. Why is his wife the one writing that? He is the one that should have taken responsibility for this. Even if Kate is the one that edited, he is the one that his name should have been on that post. He is the one that should be apologizing and letting people know, okay, we made a mistake, whatever. I apologize. He is the head of that household. And so what is happening is here, and we've talked about it so many times, is we have reached a point where Kensington Palace is literally throwing her under the bus. Why? To protect the heir. It's always about protecting the heir. It's always about that. So whether Kate Middleton is the one that actually photoshopped it or not, William, his name could never be responsible for that. They're always going to get him in declare. We see they do that with Charles all the time, with all the cash for access and cash for honors mess that he is. Never once are they attached. It's always that the king didn't know anything about it. Oh, he didn't know anything about it when it was happening. It's somebody else. It's the Michael Foster or whatever their names are, Fawcett or whatever their names are. Never the king. And it's the same thing with William. And it's the same thing here. William's name is the one that should have been on there. And if he was a man protecting his wife, which many people feel like they're not together. If he was a man protecting his wife, his name would have been there. He would have protected her and not allowed her name be on there. And worst case scenario, both of their names on there. He would not have allowed her name only to be there. It would have been from both of them. And so, but again, even with the statement, we have precedents that even though Kate put her name on it, or at least not Kate put her name on it, Kensington Palace put her name on it, which I believe is what happened. We know that they do this because they've done it before. We've talked about it before. All squatties know, because we have tons of evidence that they've done this before. Why? Because they did it to Harry. And so we remember back in 2020, Valentine Lowe wrote this article about how about why Harry and Meghan left the royal institution. And this is a little piece of the article. It says, and this was in 2020, Valentine Lowe's article. It says the Duke and Duchess of Sussex regard themselves as having been pushed away from the royal family by the bullying attitude of his brother, the Duke of Cambridge, the Times understands. In an analysis that is contested by sources close to William and others close to Harry, the Sussexes want to step away from their royal role after 2 years of constantly being told their place, according to a source that knows the couple well. So there was this whole article again. It was about bullying, about William bullying the Sussexes out of the article. Out of the royal institution. 2 hours later, we had this pop up where all the press started posting this 2 hours after this article came out in 2020. The Duke and the Duke of Sussex and the Duke of Cambridge have issued a furious denial over a newspaper report speculating on the cause of the rift between them, branding it offensive and potentially harmful. A strongly worded statement by William and Harry's senior spokespeople said, despite clear denials, a false story ran in a UK newspaper today speculating about the relationship between the Duke of Sussex and of Cambridge. The brothers, who care so deeply about issues surrounding mental health and the use of inflammatory language in this way, is offensive and potentially harmful. So all of this in 2020. And I remember this day so well, because everyone who was a squatty, we were like, wait a minute, we don't believe Harry had anything to do with the statement, because at that point, we knew William bullied them out of the country. We knew that William was the one that bullied them out of the royal, basically the royal institution. We knew that, and we were talking about it. So when we saw this, we were like, yeah, that's exactly true. So when we saw this statement, we knew Harry had nothing to do with it. We were talking about it. There was even a squatty. This picture of William signing, there is another picture with William using the other hand, and the squatty put them together. And so we were all making jokes about William signing both his statement and Harry's statement in this thing, where they're claiming that Harry has anything to do with this. And so by the time 2022, when Harry and Meghan docu-series came out, Harry confirmed what we all suspected. In the Harry and Meghan docu-series, Harry said that the palace attached his name to a statement denying Prince William bullied him and Meghan out of the royal family without asking his permission. And this is what Harry says. He says, within 4 hours, they're happy to lie to protect my brother, and yet for 3 years, they weren't willing to tell the truth to protect us. So if you guys remember in the Harry and Meghan docu-series, Harry talked about this, about William and the palace putting his name, attaching his name to a statement that he didn't know anything about. They never even asked him. They put his name on the statement denying William bullying them out of the country. And really, the country and the family, really. And this is a little bit more of the BuzzFeed article. It says the statement in question, that statement, was issued on January 13, 2020, in response to a story published that day in the Times claiming that Harry and Meghan regard themselves as having been pushed away from the royal family by the bullying attitude of his brother, the Duke of Cambridge. Hours after publication, Kensington Palace issued a statement denying the truth of the story and was purportedly from the two brothers, a move that was seen as a highly significant show of unity amidst the fallout from Harry and Meghan's announcement that they were stepping back as working members of the royal family. Again, a few hours after that statement, after that article, they're like, Harry and William are together and united. They strongly denied it. Meanwhile, they never even asked Harry. They attached his name to a statement they did not ask his permission to do, which I believe is the same thing they just did. I believe that they just did the same thing with Kate, which is not, I mean, I'm not taking away any of Kate Middleton's guilt. What she got, she deserved, really. What she is getting, she deserves for what they have done to Harry and Meghan. She's getting what she deserves. But knowing how Kensington Palace work and knowing how they do this stuff all the time, these are the same people who took Meghan's name off of her child's birth certificate and then leaked to the press that she did it. These are the same people that did that. These are the same people that when Harry and Meghan docuseries came out, they put out to the press that they weren't asked to give their side of the story. They weren't asked to comment, which was a complete lie, because then the production company for the Harry and Meghan docuseries outed them as lying and said no, and they produced proof that not only did they contacted them, they were in contact with I think it was Kensington Palace comms team about it. They even responded. So the whole thing was a lie. So we know Kensington Palace just lie and lie and lie and lie. And so that's why for me, when I saw this and I was like, I don't believe for 1 second that statement came from Kate Middleton. I don't believe it for 1 second. That statement was from Kensington Palace to cover up for Prince William. It's what they do. They will throw anybody under the bus to protect the heir. We've seen them do it. I mean, William has done it to his mother, calling his, saying that his mother was basically, she was basically crazy. He threw his own mother under the bus. He threw his own brother under the bus to protect himself. So it stands to reason Kate is next, and which is what it looks like he just did. So it is just really, I mean, oh my goodness. It is really sick. And so Chris Ship again, Chris Ship has been very active on Twitter. Thank you all of you squaddies who's been posting it, because I, again, don't get to see his tweets. But this is what he says. He says, the way to close everything down would be to release the original photo on which Kate decided to experiment with editing. That's unlikely, mind you. And no sooner did he say this, Kensington Palace said it would not be reissuing the original unedited photo of Kate and her children. Of course they wouldn't, because I don't think that photo exists. I don't think there was ever a photo that William took. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't believe so, because I believe the original is what they sent out, in that they put a whole bunch of different photos. They layered a bunch of different photos to create this perfect smiling family minus William, and claim he took the photo. I believe this was the original, mind you, quote unquote original, that they, again, stockpiled a bunch of photos and then created this from Photoshop and made a mess of it. Whoever did it made a mess of it. And that's why that's why they would not release an original, because there wasn't one. There was not one. And whomever it is at Kensington Palace trying to lie, really is what they're doing, lie to the public about this perfect family all smiling, is ridiculous. And it really is inexcusable, because, again, these are people paying you millions of dollars to represent their country, to represent them as this wholesome family. And this is how you treat them, by lying, being deceitful, by being manipulative, by being completely incompetent. You are getting millions and millions and millions while people are starving and living on the streets and can't feed their families and can't heat their homes. And you sitting there lying to them. And then watching their, even some in their tabloid press are a little bit incensed, because, they now look stupid. But some of them are still covering up for them, because, it's their bread and butter. It's how they earn their living, I guess. But this is disgraceful. This is utterly disgraceful that they, that this is acceptable. So anyways, And I'm just going to read a couple of these, a little bit lengthy, but Scobie had a good point. He says, it's fair to say that most photos released by officers of public figures have been retouched in some way. So if this was an isolated incident, then it would just be an unfortunate error. But with the palace's long history of lying, covering up, and even issuing statements on behalf of family members without their permission, CC Prince Harry, like we just talked about, it's becoming increasingly difficult for the public to believe a word and now a photo they share. Gaining back at this point is the most impossible task. Basically, gaining back the public trust at this point is an impossible task. Because who would believe anything for coming out of Kensington Palace? Who would believe anything that they say or show? They're just going to believe all of it is manipulated. I mean, it started again with that, in the last week alone, with that crazy car photo, and then it's like, people, so Dr. Shola says, assuming the C is Kate Middleton admitting to editing the image, seems like she's been thrown under the bus by Prince William and Kensington Palace. You know what I'm saying? Use message from use the message from recovering mother to silence criticism because they messed up. Honestly, they should sack their PR team. And again, one of the reasons I think they probably use Kate is because they feel like if they said William, he will be really attacked, which he should be. But if they use Kate because she's still considered, sick and recovering, so there'll be more sympathy towards her, just the same way that they use the Queen, and they use the Queen as proxy for a lot of the things that they did, because if they put the Queen there, then people would not be as angry as them, say like if they put at the time Prince Charles or anyone else. So they would use the Queen's name to sort of soften the blow. And I think it's the same thing they're doing with Kate right now, because for the most part, people in the UK feel sympathy towards Kate. So if they just say, oh, this sick person is, she made a mistake photoshopping, and okay. But if it was William, they know that it wouldn't go down as well. So which is why I think they use Kate. Again, throwing her name under the bus. And Peter Hunt again says, royal coverage is often too sycophantic and spineless. Broadcasters and the press can demonstrate some resolve by refusing to use materials provided by the royals. And he goes on to talk about, him drafting this release about trying to get the press, at the time, the BBC and stuff, and Sky, what they call quote unquote legit press, to be the ones doing videos for Harry and William and Kate's heads together stuff, and being denied by the palace. And the palace, they wanted to control it, let the charities do it, and Peter was like, no, in order, that goes against our policies. Our people have to be the ones to videotape this so that we know and we can verify the credibility of what you are presenting. And so they never did. They still allow the palace to basically feed them what they need to be writing about, instead of it coming from them. So anyways, very, very interesting. But talk about people just losing all kind of respect for the royal family. They have already become a meme, so people are memeing them all over the place. The photo on the left is when during Brexit, they weren't supposed to meet for a party, and they were forcing people to stay home and they can't meet together. And yet people in government, as you can see, one of the picture, really in the foreground, there's Boris Johnson and some of his team there meeting for a party when everyone else was shut in their house. And so they memed the photo and put the photo there. And of course, Bernie Sanders' famous photo, inauguration photo, so you can find this all over the internet now. They're starting to mock them. And again, the royals and the British people hate to be mocked. This is the thing that they hate more than ever. That's why they do it to Harry and Meghan, because they know this is the thing that they value. They value justice. They are above it all, and they are just high standard of things. But mocking them is what they hate the most. And so now they are being mocked. So very, yes, Rhonda, yes. Bernie Sanders inauguration, yep. He's got 3 kids and they're royals. I know, it's very funny. I'm sure there are a lot more. Those are the 2 I found. I just happened to ran into those while I was looking for other things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to show these. But yes, Bernie Sanders. It's very, very funny. But yeah, they are now a laughing stock in around the world. No one is gonna believe anything from Kensington Palace. Nothing. So ITV, one of the things ITV, Chris Ship has been on, again, he has been on the ball with this, again, he was the one, as I was saying, when I just first came on, I saw someone posted a screenshot of him asking about the foliage in the back there. And again, he is in the UK, and I'm like, well, you're in the UK, and if you're asking, then I'm in New York, I was asking the same question. Is it supposed to be that green? So again, what I think happened, I don't believe this photo was set here originally. I think it may have been set someplace else and they took out the background. And, as with anything, like if you look at my or many of our thumbnails on our YouTube podcast, we just take out the background of a photo and then we just repurposes and put it someplace else, which could have been the situation here where you see some of the softening around the image is because they have copied it from and took out the background and put the image someplace else and try to fit it in and blend it in with someplace else, which is what I think happened here. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. But ITV says the longer term damage will be the issue of trust. Yeah, I mean, not that we ever trust, if you're a squatter, you never trust anything coming out of, especially Kensington Palace anyway. And if you're a squatter and you trusted them, shame on you. But yeah, that's the thing for the British. A lot of the British, especially the Royalists, they really trust the things that comes out of Kensington Palace. That is true. You really, especially if you grew up believing these people, they've been put on a pedestal and supposed to be this, model of what you're supposed to grow up being. And then you realize that all this time they've been lying to your face. They're taking your money. They're taking your tax dollars where you can't even afford stuff. And they're taking the tax dollars and then lying in your face. So it'll be definitely, and their poll numbers were already going down. So I can't imagine this helping at all. And so this person is from the UK. I don't know if it's a squatty or not, but I saw it. It says, Kensington Palace, William, who's a clown, is a complete idiot. I've never seen an incident where reputable news clearinghouses are saying an image from the royal family has been manipulated and it is being pulled. As a British native, I am not only embarrassed for the country, but for the royal family. William is who will destroy them. I totally agree. And so many people were sharing this sentiment, how embarrassed they felt, how embarrassing it was. This is the pinnacle of what royal in the UK is supposed to be. And again, this is not the first time. If they had only paid attention, if they were only called out really and held accountable, and news outlets not publishing their known fake photos, which again, it has not been a secret, then this international incident would not be happening. It would not be embarrassing your people and your country. I am not in the UK and I feel secondhand embarrassment for this. Come on, really? And not only that, it is not only is it embarrassing, it is so disrespectful. It is so incredibly disrespectful to your people, what you think of them. Because if you respect someone, you would never do this. You're not going to give fake stuff to people you respect. You wouldn't do that. You would give them your best. And this shows the level of disrespect that they have for their people, for their news outlets, for the international news. Completely. They just expect we can disrespect you and you're just going to have to suck it up. And this is what you get from Kensington Palace. Say what you want for King Charles. They're not, not the most honest person, but not I don't think I've seen something this blatant. Well, actually, that's not true. They have lied before about Camilla, so I'll take that back. Never mind. So they're all disrespectful. So there you go. They are all disrespectful. So, anyways, okay. So I guess that's all I got. So I'm gonna stay in the chat and I'll just see what you guys are saying. But this is just craziness. Utter craziness. Hello, all my awesome friends that are in here. Blackweed, I see you there. Minx Martin. Sorry, I just kind of got to it. So I'm gonna start from the bottom and up. Karen Warner, who is lives in a Commonwealth country, says, I feel cheated on as a person and the people by this organization. It's hard not to feel cheated, especially that your taxes, other Commonwealth country do pay, and also support the royal family, and to be disrespectful and cheated out of something that's supposed to be real. Yeah. Totally understand that, Karen. Live for Success says, embarrassing, shameful history of no accountability, which again, yeah, that's what it is. When people are not held accountable and have to suffer the consequences of their behavior, this is what happened. Prince William's whole life has been like this. This is why he is angry at Harry, that Harry left, because Harry is the one who has always had to suffer the consequences for William's behavior. Always the one thrown under the bus for William's behavior. Never. Him and King Charles are the same. They've never really had to suffer the consequences for their behavior. Yes, the press got on him for, Camp on Gate and all of that stuff, because they couldn't hide it because it was so out there. But for the most part, they have never had to suffer and face the consequences for their behavior. Just hang on for 1 second. I'm just going to move something. Okay. Just have to close that door for a second. Let's see. Oh, Karen again. Karen, I think you're dropping a unit. And it says, I didn't believe them from all the palaces and houses from the beginning, and worse now. I know a lot of people who may have put their trust in the palaces are saying the same. It's like, yeah, we can't believe anything you say now. Let's see. Anne Lewis, hi Anne. Anne says, the irony, the Commonwealth service today at the Abbey, the shenanigans of the royals, those Commonwealth nations should start to look at their standing and who they want to be the head of the Commonwealth. I'm telling you, we've been talking about this since before the Queen died. I remember talking about this, 2.5 summers ago, whatever it was. I think 2, yeah. That the whole thing with the Commonwealth is really ridiculous. We were talking about the Commonwealth and what it represents and who should lead it. One of the things, if you go on the Commonwealth website, is that they talk about the title, the head of the Commonwealth, not being hereditary. But if you look at the history of the Commonwealth, it was the Queen's father, the Queen, and now the King. And then they're talking about Prince William, who I guess said he doesn't think he should lead it, whatever. I was talking about this since the Queen was alive. There is literally no reason why King Charles is the head of the Commonwealth. You can't tell me that among all of those nations that are members of the Commonwealth that you cannot find one person in there that can lead the Commonwealth that is not from the royal family. That is ridiculous. What they did is that they allowed the Queen to manipulate them. She got them all to Windsor Castle, feted them, and basically made them promise to make her son the head of the Commonwealth. All she was doing was preserving power. That's all they did. She was doing preserving power. This wasn't about the people of the Commonwealth, whatever. It was that she wanted to make sure the power of the Commonwealth remains in the UK and remains in her family. There was no way on earth that the head of the Commonwealth should be any members of the royal family. And again, I even brought up this person on Twitter, and I love this quote where she said, you would not expect Jewish people, even though right now, that's another issue what's going on right now, but you would not expect Jewish people to allow a relative of Hitler to be leading a group that they're a part of, or a group of nations. If they come together or whatever, a group of whatever, you wouldn't expect them to accept a relative of Hitler to be the leader, then why are the members of the Commonwealth, elected or allowing, people, their colonizers, to be the head of the Commonwealth? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense that they have allowed this to happen. And so they really got to figure out what it is they're doing, which, that whole Commonwealth stuff benefits, honestly, no one other than the leaders, who they get to get together and do whatever they do. But people of the Commonwealth have no benefits from any of this nonsense. And again, as Anne said, today is the Commonwealth service, and nobody's paying attention to it because everybody's attention is on Williams and his clownery. And apparently he is there at the Commonwealth service. So I think they may have just gotten there when I was just about to come online. So I don't know. I haven't seen pictures of it yet. So yeah, it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. So let's see. Cheryl W says, we never trusted anything from those people. Yeah, don't. Save yourself. Don't trust anything. And guys, there are so many wonderful especially Sussex-friendly channels on YouTube. And yes, I know that there are a lot of other ones that are very nasty, but definitely do go and support. VS Speaks Royally is another one. Obviously, we know Duchess of Sussex. I'm sorry, Duchess of Success, Barron's podcast, and many other podcasts. Definitely check it out and support. So thank you, Sir Church Nelly. If you want to go check out this podcast, definitely click on Church Nelly's post and you can get the link right there. Thank you very much. And definitely, obviously, I'm assuming everybody here also subscribe to Barron's podcast, Royal Sussex, or Duchess of Success, Anne's podcast. So if you haven't, definitely jump over there. They are amazing. I'm always so happy when I can catch them live, especially. So definitely, if you haven't gone, definitely go over and check out their podcast. I'm sure they are talking about this. And a lot of times we talk about sometimes the same things, but a lot of times we just have our own different angles from where we come from with all of this stuff. So definitely check out their take on these as well if you haven't already. So yeah. Sonia Johnson said Kensington Palace first said it was William who took the photo, and now when the ISH hits the fan, they now say it was Kate, meaning C, meaning Kate. How low can they go? Mumbles can write, so it cannot be her. Oh, she can't write, so it cannot be her. Well, they did say, I don't know that they have veered from that William took the photo, but they're saying that Kate edited the photo. That's what the note is saying, that Kate is the one that edited the photo. Again, I don't care who edited that photo. I don't care if it's her or if they're comms team. If it's her, it's like, girl, you can sit home there editing photo. You can get up and do some work. But, you can lie down and edit too. That's fine. But I don't care who's the person that edited the photo. The fact of the matter is, William is the head of that household. They have messed up royally in every sense of the word. This whole with Kate in the hospital and all of it before and after, they have messed up in every way possible. William is the head of that household and should be the person that is addressing it with his name attached, not throwing his wife under the bus. He is the one that should be taking responsibility. That's what a leader does. They don't throw it to the people who are considered of a lower standing than them. If you're a leader, that is what a leader would do. They would take responsibility. If you want to take responsibility and you want to celebrate the victories and claim the victories, then you have to be the one when everything goes, goes to pot. You have to be the one to take responsibility for it. Your name is the one that needs to be there. You are the leader of that household. You are the one that should be apologizing, not putting your wife name there so you can get cover. That is weak. That is not leadership. William is complete. He's so incompetent. This is I can't imagine being in a country that have this person. I mean, we have to experience that mess with the orange one in the White House. I don't wish that mess on anybody. I don't think William is far away. I mean, maybe not as extreme as our orange one, but goodness, the ineptitude. Whew. Let's see. Um, what else you guys are saying? Ooh, my stomach is growling. I need to eat. I hope you didn't hear my stomach growl. Let's see. Little Max said, "Oh, she's talking about Queen. There are so many lies. Do you remember when when they said Lily's outfit at her first birthday party was a gift from Kate? After the real designer was identified, the press said it was wrinkled." I didn't even know they said it was Kate. I know what I remember. I didn't realize that there was this part of it. I remember them saying that the outfit was that they used Kate's designer, and then it all came out that it was and then the Daily Mail even had a link to that designer, and that designer claimed, didn't correct it and claim, so that they could claim that Lily's outfit was from that designer, until the real designer came out, and then we realized that no, that was all fake. And so yeah, it's craziness like this that they would not correct until they are called out. And again, they're just for no reason at all. They just lie. No reason at all. So yeah. Anne says, if Kate sit up and do all this editing of a photo, why is she so sick to attend Troop in the Color in June? Apparently last week, Kate was mentally and physically fragile, puffy face in a car. Well, that's one of the big things that people were talking about with this photo. Last week, you had a picture of supposedly Kate being very puffy faced, and by a few days later, which they said, this photo was taken last week as well, you have this very thin face, and it's like, wait a minute, that's not the person that was in that car. So it lends credence that it could be Pippa or Samantha Cohen and not Kate. But again, even if that wasn't Kate, they didn't correct it. If that wasn't Kate, they did not correct it. And it's just like, are you serious? All they could have done say, if it wasn't her, it's just like, no, that's not her. So, but they didn't. They just left it out there. Let's see. Black Queen says, she's talking to Cheryl, says, and there were no paps on either side of that car like usual. How convenient. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, it just and also I was giving them the benefit of a doubt because, the angle of the photo, whatever. But then when I saw the wider photo, I realized, yeah, that's also photoshopping. My question is, who exactly took that photo and sold it to Backred? Because there was some photoshopping down there, because we know with that fifth wheel in the back there, then, so if you put that along with this bit of photoshopping mess, it sounds like whoever photoshopped in that, left in that fifth wheel in that last photoshopping mess is probably the same person who photoshopped this mess, because they're very sloppy and they don't pay attention to their photo. I'm telling you, if you're going to edit photos, you have to zoom in. And especially when you're going to say, for example, lift a background from someone, you have to zoom in, because there are a lot of errors that you can just miss if you don't zoom in. You have to zoom in and look at all the areas that you have edited, because it's very, very easy to miss things. And so, yeah, the same sloppy work from the last time is the same sloppy work you see here, and that hence we have this mess. So there. And let's see. Trish Nelly's like, crazy car photo battle. All the cars have 5 wheels. Yeah, you know what? You're so right. I think royal cars all have 5 wheels. My mistakes. Sorry, Kate. Sorry, Kate and William, for dissing your 5-wheel car. I forgot. Cheryl says Dr. Shola wins again. She does. So yeah. Let's see. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Dolores says the statement is put out by on William Stationery. It is not signed by William and Kate Peddle. They are putting out an excuse that Kate knows nothing about, which I believe is what happened. Which I believe it was what happened again, as we just talked about. They did the same thing to Harry. You know, he threw Harry. You know, it's like, yes, it's put out by William and Harry as a sign of their unity, without ever asking Harry, without ever, not only did they not ask, they never got permission to do it. Yet they felt perfectly fine to just forge his name onto there. Again, these are the same people who took Meghan's name out of her son's birth certificate, and I am yet to hear what happened with that and how, like, hello. And then not only that, leaked it to the press like if Meghan did something. They took her name off of her own child's birth certificate. No wonder Meghan ran out of that place. It's like, if you could go that far, my goodness. My goodness. So let's see. Little Max says, traditionally, yes, she added the leaves to the tree. Made the grass green, added fingers and Adam's apple to her throat. That's another thing. I'm like, I need to go back and look at Kate Middleton's throat. She has a huge old Adam's apple on her throat. Just to somehow improve the picture taken. William, LOL. I mean, I never knew Kate had an Adam's apple on her throat before. I was like, I need to go back and look. I was like, was that a guy sitting there that she I mean, there is so much wrong with this. And another thing could have been a whole other person who was sitting there instead of Kate, and then they took that person out, which is possible. You can do that, and Photoshop herself in there, or Photoshop part of the item. It's just a lot. It is just a whole lot. So it's just yes. That's Cookies and Cream says the family is so diabolical. Very true. Very true. Very true. Let's see, going all the way down, it says Tony Rice, hello Tony. Tony says, Trisha, they say that somebody who is trying to bring down the monarchy sent it to KP, and it may have come from LA. Sent what to KP? what did somebody from what did somebody send from LA? That's funny. That is so hilarious. Let's see. Of course, I'm sure they're trying to blame. They sent somebody from LA sent the photo. So you mean the same photo that KP put on their website? It came from California. Oh man, I'm telling you, it is hard to be a royalist, man, because the pretzels you have to twist yourself into to believe that what you're being told and what you've been shown by the royals is true is really hilarious. But you know, they deserve everything they get, because it's not like they have not been warned numerous times. It's not like the Sussex squad have not been there calling this out for however long. So yes, they deserve to have to twist themselves into a pretzel to believe that their lying royals are somehow credible in some way. They deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. Let's see. Mrs. S says, I believe that Meghan's name was removed from Archie's birth certificate so that she would be forgotten after she was made unalive. And yeah, you see, that's what we were thinking when this stuff happened. And that's where it got so scary, because when you take someone's name off their birth certificate, you literally are trying to erase that person. And it is just like, so yeah, Mrs. S, I'm so happy you remember that. We were talking about all of this then. And then KP, or really the palace, then proceeded to put out about 5 different excuses as to why they took Meghan's name. Like literally, we sat there posting, and to this day, I am so upset that I got rid of my original Twitter account, because we had all of this stuff on there, because we were keeping in real time all of the excuses. In one day, they put out about 5 different ones in one day as to why they took Meghan's name off of her child's birth certificate. It was until we finally were like, because they were saying that, I forget, I think was Richard Palmer saying that, oh, she must wanted to use it in the US or some kind of stupidness like that. And we had to be like, the US doesn't recognize those titles. Why would she, an American, change her title and put it on her passport? And I mean, yeah, because they were saying that she may have wanted to use her title on her passport and stuff like that. And I'm like, Meghan has an American passport. Americans don't recognize British titles like that. Why would an American put, I mean, that's when they stopped. Now I remember Tina, I think Tina worked in immigration or something like that. And so she was saying that, and she was calling them, I mean, it was just a mess. But that's when we knew they are really meaning business with Meghan's life. When you take someone's name off of their birth, I mean, hello, you are literally looking like you're trying to erase that person. So yeah. Oh my gosh, today's Church Nellie's birthday. Oh my goodness, happy birthday, Church Nellie. Oh, I didn't realize that I'm so horrible with birthdays. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Church Nellie. Think of it as Meghan singing to you. Oh no, think of it as Nacho singing it to you. Happy birthday to you. Wait, it's not your birthday? It's not your birthday? Well, that's okay. I see. Well, I sing you a birthday song and think of it as Nacho anyway. So there. I really believed when they said it was Church Nellie's birthday. So, wait, it is her Church Nellie. Is it your birthday or not? Tell us. Little Meg said, I thought Church Nellie's birthday was in December. I was just like, that's why I was like, wait, I didn't know that. So, anyways, either way, Church Nellie, you'll get 2 happy birthday songs. So there you go. Let's see. Anna says, is Archie's mother's name still not on his birth certificate? We Squad should confirm. I don't know. I don't know. That story just died and I don't know what happened. Archie is now, I mean, Archie, I think has dual citizenship. So it's definitely on the American side birth certificate. I don't know if they ever fixed the UK birth certificate. So yeah. Church Nellie, this doesn't help. It doesn't tell me if it's your birthday or not. But we know what you want for your birthday. So she's like, I want me a nacho, man. So yeah, so we know what you want for your birthday. We got it. So there. Let's see. So yeah, it would be very interesting to find out what happened with Archie's birth certificate, at least on the British side. But the good thing again, they are Archie and I'm assuming Lily as well do have dual citizenship. So at least we know in America, Meghan is on that certificate. So there you go. Let's see. Let's see. Terry said they tried to lie about it that Meghan had agreed on it. These people know no boundaries with their lies. Again, exactly. They really do. I mean, again, we've seen what they even did to Harry. They do things and claim that and claim things and put people's names and say that people did something without even asking, without getting their permission, because they have never had to take responsibility for the things that they've done. They've never had to face consequences. So they just go right ahead. And you know what? The politicians, the press, the law, whatever, allow them to do it. And so when I keep always saying, because they keep saying like, no one is above the law, no one is above the law. Well, I'm sorry. The royal family has been operating above the law all the time. And especially if you're a monarch, you're immune from all of that stuff. Literally, you could do anything you want in the UK. Name it. You can do it. And you have complete immunity from all of it. You cannot be prosecuted for any of those things. So yeah, it is just... unbelievable. Oh, not Church Nelly says my birthday is 13/1/00007 BC. Wow, Church Nelly, you've been around a lot, a long time. You've been around a whole long time. So there. Thank you, Church Nelly. Wait, cookies and cream too? Oh my goodness. Everybody's birthday is today. So cookies and cream, is this really your birthday? Even if it isn't, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear cookies and cream. Happy birthday to you. And many more. And we won't ask you how old you are because we are not like that. So yeah. Hope you got, so it is Cookies and Cream's birthday. Yay! Happy birthday, Cookies and Cream. Oh, and I hope you're having lots of cookies and cream for your birthday. Ha 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 ha. I had to do that. So hi, Via Speaks Royally. How are you? Definitely check out the podcast, everybody. So I am so happy you're here. We're all celebrating cookies and cream. So yes. And she will be having cookies and cream for her birthday too. So there. Let's see. Sikai says, Lord Jesus, what happened to the Princess of Wales? I hope she's still here. Apparently she is. Apparently she was seen in a car. At least someone with a dark hair. I mean, I don't know. I've been on here, so I don't know if there are pictures with her face, but it was the back of the head. They claimed that it was her, so who knows? Who knows? Again, we can't really trust anything from coming out of that country anyway, so yeah. I'm at this moment, video, or not even picture, video, or it didn't happen. And even then I questioned because of AI. So they could manipulate that too. So in other words, I trust nothing at all that they do or say at all in any sense of the word. Let's see what else is happening. Tashmak says, Church Nelly, they said that she had a personal appointment which somehow they know of without it being leaked to them from KP. Of course, there are no leakers in KP, of course. But yes, you're right. So they just know it was a personal appointment without it leaking at all. Of course. Anne says, who's Anne here? Anne says, Puddle, is that another photo shoot of the back of Kate's head? Hilarious. Yeah, that's the picture. William was looking down, looking somber, and the back of Kate's head. So that's all I saw. I didn't see anything else. So yeah. VS Speaks Royally, her podcast is at 1 o'clock today. So in less than half an hour, just jump over there and check out her podcast. So there. Awesome. I'm assuming you'll be talking about this too. So I'd love to hear your take on the debacle that is Kate Middleton and her mess. But away from there for a second, we've been talking about these people for the whole time, and I don't even have another photo to get away from that. But our faves, there was a video of them leaving San Antonio, which was I guess was on Saturday, and John, the Martinez from that family where Meghan and Harry visited, posted a photo of them saying goodbye to them, and he was just saying what he was so happy. It was such a blessing to them that Harry and Meghan stayed in touch with them and visited, and they were just so grateful. And the great thing about this is so many different news outlets, whether print and also on television, whatever, were running segments. News outlets in Texas, it was on CNN, it was on a bunch of different ones, NBC, I think CBS also were carrying it, Huffington Post, and also international press. And the good thing about it, and one of the things that I love that Ted Sarandos had said that on the last episode I mentioned, he talked about how Harry and Meghan are able to use, like they draw a lot of publicity, but they're able to use their publicity to highlight their work and to highlight things on an international level. And that's one of the things they at Netflix really loved about them, apart from their the things that they produce with them. And one of the great things that has happened here is exactly this, because ever since after the tragedy in Uvalde, Texas, After about a month or two, the press went away. The attention on the community went away. People weren't talking about Uvalde, Texas. They weren't talking about the families. And just so you know, even though all this mess has happened, they have basically cleared the police department of any responsibility, even though they were out there as cowards, not going in while kids were in there alive. And because they didn't go in, after a while, they were shot and killed. And so, but the police department, a lot of them have been cleared, and it's been crazy. The families have gotten really no justice for what has happened to their family. And so, really, the world has gone away from Uvalde. And the only people who have really stayed has been Harry and Meghan and Kaboom. Kaboom is the organization that the Sussexes worked with and teamed up with to build the park for the community. And so because now Harry and Meghan have gone back there, the world spotlight all of a sudden is back on Uvalde, Texas. And so you have news outlets all over the place reporting on this. And some people finally realizing that they're criticizing Meghan when this first happened, claiming that she's only doing for publicity and all of that stuff. A lot of them have now changed their tune and have now singing the praises of the Sussexes for going back there and maintaining it. And it's so great that they're all correctly reporting that this isn't just a publicity thing, that Harry and Meghan have maintained their relationship with these families since then. And so even a part of the Sussexes there, they were at the birthday party, but they also went to the park that they helped build, and they had a time there with the families. There are pictures online, which I will post if you haven't seen them. And so it was really, really wonderful to see just the love and there was a photo I saw Harry's face. He just looks like he was so emotional. And so, and I can imagine it being such an emotional time, for them, just hearing the stories and hearing these families. And they also got to spend time with the daughters of Irma. And I think her husband was Louis, I think. She is the John's aunt who was a teacher at the school and was killed. And then her husband died the next day. He went and laid flowers at the memorial. And then 2 hours later, he died of a heart attack. He died of a broken heart. And so they got to spend time with their two daughters and, talk with them for quite a long time. So people have been reporting about this. And all of a sudden, because of Harry and Meghan, the spotlight is back on the families and the community of Uvalde. And people are all of a sudden caring again. So it is so great to see how Harry and Meghan have been using their fame and using the attention that is on them to draw attention to these causes and draw attention to the women and men of who have moved here from Afghanistan. And so it's been amazing. And even with the South by Southwest, people were paying attention. I don't ever pay attention to South by Southwest at all. And so people have been, including me, was paying attention to South by Southwest, and so many people have been quoting what Meghan have been saying. And it is, even South by Southwest actually put out a video with clips from different parts of the seminars, and Meghan has a long part in it. Actually, they quoted quite a bit of what she said, and including others as well. So it's been a really, really wonderful experience to see the impact that Harry and Meghan are making. Quietly, they do their thing, they come out and do their work, and then they go back under their tree. And so it's wonderful to see. And then you juxtapose that with all the nonsense that's going on in Shutter Island, and you're like, so who are the real royals again? What does royalty look like? Across the pond or Montecito? What does real royalty look like? And what would you want? When you look at both of those houses, when you look at the house, the royals in Montecito and the ones in Kensington, when you look at both houses, what would you want in your leader? And it's very, very clear. It is very, 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 very clear. Prince William has no business anywhere close to leading anything. He is incompetent in every sense of the word. And the thing about it is stuff that you can learn, but he has shown no interest in learning. And that is the thing. You can't teach someone who doesn't want to learn. So yeah. Let's see. A few more before we end. Sherry W says, Petal, there's a photo of Kate. Maybe not. Oh, it's probably the same one I was mentioning. And William leaving the palace, but you can't see her face. Something is really wrong with this. I know, right? Yeah. It just, again, the clown show continues. The clown show continues, Cheryl. The clown show continues. Let's see. Let's see. Sylvia says the article said they were in tears. I could see Meghan had been crying. Yeah, they said there were a lot of joy and tears. And I mean, how could you not be in tears? You know, just hearing and looking at the photos, the joy, you know that there's got to be a lot of tears. Yeah, and especially that a community that has really gotten no justice, and even their governor has been ignoring them. It's been crazy. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. Let's see. Sylvia says, in my opinion, I'm sure Harry and Meghan were emotional. Yeah, you could see from their faces, even though you didn't see the tears, you can tell. I mean, how could you not? How could you not? So yeah. FC said, Joe Meghan, I think she had a facelift after William. Oh my goodness. Many people have said they think it's a facelift. I mean, again, we have no idea. A lot of it's conspiracy. People have, said a bunch of stuff. I always felt like if it was anything, it was more mental, getting stuff for mental health. How could you not be living in that environment? Not that she is part of what is happening to her. It's a bed she actually made. So, or at least she was participating in making. So she's suffering the consequences of it. But that also damages your mental health. So would I be surprised if that's the reason? Again, that's my opinion. Everybody else has different opinions. So yeah. Let's see. Cookies and Cream, birthday girl. Cookies and Cream says the Royals dug a ditch for the Sussexes and fell right into it themselves. Talk about idiocy, LOL. Yeah, that's exactly it. And you dig ditch for people. You end up usually the ones falling into it, and that is exactly what they've done. And I think what it is that they were so counting on their press destroying Harry and Meghan. They were so counting on their press destroying, their work, destroying their life. I mean, it's the reason why we remember the byline articles where it says the royal household basically gave the press permission to destroy Harry and Meghan. They gave them complete permission to do it. And they were counting on that. So they expected, with all the hate that they have incited against the Sussexes, that the Sussexes would just fold and just go away and, lack of a better word, die, whether it's financially or, with their charities and whatever. They're literally expected to decimate them, that they would be the ones that everybody is praising, and there would be no more Sussexes that would challenge them in any way or compete with them in any way, even though it's a one-sided competition, because the Sussexes don't compete with them. They just don't. They can't compete with the Sussexes anyway, but in their mind, they did not expect to have the Sussexes there thriving. They didn't. And so now that they realize that, with all the stuff that we have thrown at them, that they are thriving and doing their thing and enjoying their life, and they did not just go away. Now we have to face the music, because now the world is going to turn back to you. Okay, so what are you doing? Even their own press is now looking at them. The spotlight is shining brightly on them and is exposing what they are not doing and the clownery that's going on in the palace. And again, it's quite interesting that King Charles is not bailing them out. He's like literally silent. King Charles is like, I got my own problems over here. Whether I have cancer or not, I shall never say, but King Charles is like, I'm not doing anything of the sort. So, Karen says, I agree from the get-go. I think it was a mental breakdown, and I stand by it with this. I stand by it with all of this happening, which is, I mean, this is what it seemed like to me. It seemed like it's more of a mental, I mean, but it would be really horrible if they lied again. Would I put it past them to lie? I mean, what have we been talking about the last hour? Them lying and being deceitful, right? And manipulative. So no, I believe they would do anything. Some people were saying, well, do you really believe King Charles would lie about cancer? Look, I have, especially what has been happening in the world, I believe people will lie about anything. I believe people will lie about anything. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't always believe that. I thought that there was some things that are sacred that people wouldn't dare lie about, but I don't believe that anymore because I've seen people who I would have never thought would lie about stuff and did bold face on TV just lying. And it's just like, wow, shocked me to my core. Anne says they almost broke Meghan with their plot and plan, but in her put her in a mental institution and divorced Harry. But God, children were shielded and protected. It's exactly. I mean, whatever they were planning on Meghan, it wasn't that she was going to stay there with her, be happily married to Harry and with her kids. They weren't planning that. That was very clear that that was not the plan for Meghan. Thank God they got out of there. And you know what? Even with the Queen, I'm telling you, I was down on the Queen, like, why couldn't they have the, half and half? They wanted the half in, half out. They wanted to work, and they left. I was really happy, but also part of me was just like, that was really stupid of the royal family to not allow Harry and Meghan to do half and half out. It would have benefited them, not say it wouldn't benefit the Sussexes. But now I am so glad that the Queen put her foot down. Maybe, in her own way, she was like, no, I want you to get out of here. Because maybe in her own way, and I want to give her the benefit of doubt. I don't know why, but I'm not even here for Queen Betty like that. But her saying no allowed Harry and Meghan the freedom to completely break away. Because if they were half in, half out, they wouldn't be able to do the things that they're doing now as freely as they're able to do it. So the Queen really did them a favor by saying no and letting them completely break. Because again, Harry and Meghan didn't want to completely break. They wanted that half in, half out. And so, yeah, the Queen really did them a solid. And so thank you, Queen Betty. But probably the first time I'm saying thank you to Queen Betty, because had she not done that, they would still be tied to that, and they would still be having to deal with this mess that's going on now. They could just be like, I'm under my tree, I don't have to deal with anything you're doing. So there you go. Let's see. Rhonda says, that's what I think, Petal, and a divorce. It's funny because someone posted a clip yesterday with this American guy on GB News, and I don't know why Americans are going on GB News. I have no idea who this guy is, but he's American, and on GB News, I'm like, what is it with this GB News, and why are you going on there? But literally, he was like on GB News saying, in my opinion, I think the thing is a divorce. And the people who were on GB News who were British, they didn't correct him. And then he goes on to say that he went on to say, like, yeah, it's either a divorce or he thinks she tried to hurt herself. And they tried to, you could tell they were trying to like sort of curb him back in, but they did not say he was lying. And it was very interesting. And again, he was giving his opinion, but he was in the studio with them talking, and they didn't say no. They did not say he was lying. None of that stuff. So it's very interesting that it seemed like people are starting to say the thing, the quiet parts out loud. So yeah. Let's see. So Sylvia said she felt it was a slight facelift which comes with swelling. Okay, that's, I would assume, if you're doing a facelift, that would be, right along there. Very interesting. Let's see. Antoinette Kennedy says, but if Willie Leaks think he will get sympathy from people if Kate is gone, he would be wrong. I mean, I hope that, that is not the issue. No matter what I think about Kate, I would not want to wish that on anybody. That is crazy. But yeah, no. I think people have lived through what happened with Diana and Charles. They're not going to accept that at all. Let's see. Mrs. S says, I was shocked at what I saw written on the South by Southwest site. The trolls definitely did not learn anything from what was discussed and was mostly women spewing the hate. Yeah, these people, they don't learn anything. Again, when there are no consequences to behavior, some people they just have not learned to monitor themselves. They have not learned to be like, okay, this is unacceptable until there is really harsh punishment or consequences. Some people could monitor themselves. They could self-monitor and be like, okay, no, this is not acceptable. I'm not going to write it. We've all done things that we're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I do that all the time. I mean, there are sometimes I would post something on Twitter, and if I don't feel good about it, I would go back and delete it. We've all done stuff or said stuff that we're like, okay, that may not be the best thing to have said or done, whatever. But we have the presence of mind to course correct. We can go back and correct it, apologize if needed, and all of that stuff. Some people just have not, they need harsh consequences in order for them to stop. Like, for example, this. If the international press didn't get in there and started really, exposing stuff, Kensington Palace would not have stopped. You would not have seen that statement supposedly from Kate. And the only reason why that is there, why, is because the international press is involved. And they are desperate for international press recognition, especially good publicity in the US. And if US publication starts publishing that stuff, which they had started doing, then that wouldn't look good for the royal family, especially Kensington Palace. And so those are consequences. So when they saw the consequence of that behavior and what was happening in the US press, all of a sudden you see this fake, like, oh, yes, I kind of maybe edited it and I'm, yeah. And sorry for them. And I notice they never say, I am sorry. They never apologize for it. They never apologized. They will never, ever say, I mean, I'm telling you, don't ever expect apology from white supremacists. They never will, ever. It's going to be always like, oh, it's confusion. It's like, no, we're not confused. We see what you've done. You've manipulated a photo. Yes, we're not confused, not confusion. So yeah. Sonia said, I think the Queen had little to do with the half in, half out decision in it. The half in, half out decision. It was all orchestrated by William, Charles, and the aides. They just wanted them out and could not see beyond their notice. That's true as well. Although, again, they did use the Queen as proxy. So, they said it was the Queen. So, but you're right. You're absolutely right. By then, Prince Harry, actually, you are so right, because Prince Harry even said that when all of that drama was going on with, when they were deciding, half in, half out, for them to leave, whatever, they were all sitting around the table at that Sandringham Summit, as they named it, and the Queen just sat there taking it all in. She literally said nothing. She could, there was nothing. Yeah, because at that point she literally had no power. She had no say. So you're absolutely right, Sonia. You're absolutely right. But again, they did Harry and Meghan a favor by saying no, because again, Harry and Meghan are able to cut the cords and be free. So yeah. Let's see. So Anne says, Diana's voice to the public, what they planned. I'm sorry, Diana voiced to the public what they had planned, and fate Kate was muted from day one. Yeah, I mean, Diana was she was very clear. And I mean, even to her death, she knew what was happening behind the scenes, and she knew what they had planned for her. So yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons Harry and Meghan were able to leave, because they saw, when you see the evidence and you see the history, as Harry said, history repeating itself, it's time to bail. It's time to get out of the way of that history and, get away from that. So yeah, VS Royally Speaks. She is running. She is going off to start her podcast. So I am ending. So if you want to jump right on over there, have a great podcast. And yeah, I shall chat with y'all later. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it so much. Lydia Churchnelli, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, happy birthday! And Black Queen, who I'm assuming is feeling a whole lot better. So thank you guys so much. And also the 2 Cents crew who support the channel monthly, you are amazing. And all of you who support in the chat, who support via PayPal and Cash App, you are most amazing. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate every single one of you. I love you guys. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will chat with you later.